Situational Awareness, The Decade Ahead. This author, Leopold Aschenbrenner, he doesn't hold back.
What makes this case so compelling is that you're right, he doesn't, and it's his perspective. I mean, this isn't just some, tech philosopher. He's worked at OpenAI. He's been on the ground floor building these AI systems. So when he's saying things are accelerating faster than we think, it carries some real weight.
This is someone who's seen the code, the progress firsthand.
Yeah.
What's the headline? What has him so concerned?
Well, I think the headline is that we could be on the runway to AGI, not in some distant future, but within this decade. He has this concept of counting the OOMs, orders of magnitude, and imagine each ohm is like a tenfold jump in computing power. And he's saying that these jumps are happening faster and faster in the AI world.
So it's not just that AI is improving, it's that it's improving at an accelerating rate.
Exactly.
That's a game changer.
It is a game changer.
Yeah.
Think back to just a few years ago, GPT-2 was impressive.
Right.
It's like comparing a preschooler to a bright high schooler.
Wow.
If that pace continues by 2027, we're not talking about just smart machines, but potentially minds that can outthink us in many ways.
And that leads into his concept of an intelligence explosion, right?
Yeah.
That once we hit a certain point, AI could then improve itself at an unprecedented speed.
It's a possibility that he lays out, and it's both exhilarating and terrifying.
Imagine hitting the turbo button on evolution. But for AI, once it can design and improve itself, the rate of progress could be unlike anything we've ever seen.
Okay, so we've got this potential intelligence time bomb ticking away.
Maybe.
But Aschenbrenner also hints at the sheer resources being thrown at this trillion-dollar cluster idea.
He's describing the massive investment that's pouring into AI development. Imagine single AI training clusters, these data centers that are packed with specialized chips costing hundreds of billions of dollars, using as much power as a small state.
Wow.
That's the scale we're talking about, and it gives you a sense of how seriously this push for AGI is being taken.
So it's like the space race, but instead of aiming for the stars, we're building these digital behemoths right here on Earth.
But even with all this horsepower, Aschenbrenner brings up a potential roadblock, the data wall.
Yeah.
What's that?
So this is a fascinating concept. Aschenbrenner suggests that we might be approaching the limits of what we can train AI on just by feeding it more internet data.
Okay, so just throwing more data AI might not cut it anymore.
Hmm.
We need smarter approaches, maybe like that self-play thing with AlphaGo.
Exactly. AlphaGo initially learned from human games, but its real breakthrough came when it started playing millions of games against itself, developing novel strategies no human had ever conceived.
Right.
Finding the AI equivalent of this self-play, this autonomous learning that could be key to breaking through this data wall.
Okay, so let's assume for a minute that we do figure out this self-play thing and AI is rocketing towards superintelligence.
Yeah.
That brings up the billion-dollar question, doesn't it? How do we control something potentially smarter than us?
Yeah, that's the crux of what's called the superalignment problem. Aschenbrenner argues that our current methods for controlling AI, while good for today's systems, are likely to be woefully inadequate for something that's significantly smarter than us.
So we need some serious upgrades to our AI safety protocols.
We do.
And fast, because we're playing in a whole new ball game if this intelligence explosion is as imminent as some believe. So what's Aschenbrenner's take on how we approach this? Because an AI coworker that can outthink us is great.
Yeah.
As long as they're not plotting to, turn the world into paper clips on the side.
Which is why Aschenbrenner dives into his most provocative proposal in this whole piece, which he just calls the project.
The project.
The project. And he argues that the U.S. government needs to take a far more active role in shaping AGI, that the stakes are too high to leave it solely up to private companies.
So not just funding research or setting ethical guidelines, but a more hands-on approach.
He's essentially calling for a modern-day Manhattan Project for AI.
Wow.
A massive coordinated effort pooling the brightest minds, the resources of the tech industry, and the strategic guidance of the government.
Whoa.
It's a bold, even controversial idea.
And I'm guessing he's not just doing this for, national pride.
Right.
What are his big reasons for why the U.S. needs to, own this project?
First and foremost, the national security implications. Whoever develops superintelligence first has a significant advantage, not just economically, but militarily. Imagine AI-powered weapons, autonomous drones, cyber warfare on a whole new level.
This isn't just playing Risk on a computer anymore. This is
Right.
reshaping the entire landscape of global power.
Exactly. And Aschenbrenner argues that only a government-led initiative can ensure that the development of such powerful AI is guided by national interests and ethical considerations that private companies might not prioritize.
So it's about making sure that this powerful technology serves the interests of the U.S. and its allies,
At least.
not just the bottom line.
Right.
But his arguments go beyond just security, don't they?
They do.
What about this whole control and safety issue?
Yeah, that's his second big point. He's concerned that the current approach, with companies largely driving the agenda, could lead to a dangerous lack of oversight and control as AI becomes more powerful.
Because once you unleash that genie, it's not like you can stuff it back in the bottle if things go sideways.
Exactly. He believes the project would allow the U.S. to set the standards for responsible AI development, both domestically and internationally, focusing heavily on safety and security to prevent unintended consequences.
So setting up the guardrail while we're still early in the game.
Exactly.
But this project is a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
And, he acknowledges that, right? I mean, government bureaucracy isn't exactly known for its agility or efficiency.
It's not the first word that comes to mind.
Right.
He doesn't shy away from the challenges. He acknowledges the risks of government overreach, the potential for mission creep, and the importance of maintaining transparency and democratic oversight throughout this process.
Right.
But he believes the potential benefits outweigh the risks.
So it's a balancing act.
It is.
Ensuring safety and security while upholding democratic values and individual freedoms.
Yeah.
That's a tightrope walk if I've ever heard of one.
It is. And Aschenbrenner believes the U.S., with its history of innovation and its commitment to human rights, is uniquely positioned to walk that tightrope.
Okay.
But he also stresses that we can't do this alone.
He's calling for international cooperation because this isn't just an American problem. We're talking about the future of humanity here.
He believes international cooperation is essential. He advocates for a global effort to establish shared norms and standards for AI development, preventing the proliferation of dangerous technologies, and ensuring that this technology ultimately benefits all of humanity.
Okay, so a global AI treaty. That's going to be a tough sell in our current political climate.
He acknowledges the difficulties, but argues that the risks of inaction are too great to ignore.
Yeah.
And he draws this chilling parallel between AI and nuclear weapons, both technologies with the power to reshape the geopolitical landscape.
So he's saying that AI could be the defining challenge of the 21st century, just like nuclear weapons defined the 20th.
Yeah.
And we need to start acting like it.
Exactly. He's issuing a call to action, urging us to think strategically, to engage in open dialogue, and to find common ground, because the future of humanity may depend on it.
It's a stark warning, but also a reminder that we're not just passive bystanders in this technological revolution.
Right.
We have agency, the ability to shape how this unfolds.
We do. Aschenbrenner is wary of concentrating too much power in the hands of a few tech companies or governments. He advocates for a more democratic approach to AI development, with input from experts, policymakers, and the public.
So it's not just a tech issue. It's about democracy,
It's bigger than that.
accountability,
Yeah.
making sure that this powerful technology serves the interests of humanity as a whole.
At least as best as we can.
Right. But that brings up a really interesting point he makes about how we view AI in the first place. It's not just a tool. How else does he say we should be thinking about it?
He suggests that we need to start thinking of AI less as a tool and more as a partner,
Okay.
even a potential member of our moral community, as it becomes more sophisticated and capable of independent thought.
It's like we're on the verge of this whole new chapter in human history, where we're not just interacting with technology, but coexisting with another form of intelligence.
It's big thought.
And Aschenbrenner doesn't offer, easy answers here,
Right.
but he stresses the urgency of this conversation.
Yeah, we need to be thinking about these things now,
Not before it's too late.
before it's too late. He ends on this very powerful call to action, urging this very thoughtful and informed public debate about the future of AI. He believes this technology has the potential to be incredibly beneficial,
Yeah.
but only if we approach it with open eyes, asking the tough questions, and demanding that its development is guided by our values.
It's a sobering, yet ultimately hopeful message.
I think so.
The future of AI is not predetermined.
Yeah.
It's a future we are actively creating with every choice we make.
Every day.
So to our listener, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, this was a great conversation.
Keep those questions coming.
Please.
Keep those minds open.
Keep thinking.
And let's build a future where AI empowers us all.